So this is a little introduction to op art. I don't know if any of you know what op art is or ever heard of op art. It does not stand for optional art or overpowered art. It is a style of art that uses lines, shapes, and colors to create illusions, to fool people into believing something that's on the paper that really isn't there. The first artist we're going to look at uses lines to create the illusion of a seashell on a piece of paper. His name is MC Escher. He's a Dutch artist, and this is a self-portrait of him. You can see how the lines that he uses in this piece are sharp and hard. And just a few years later, he made another self-portrait, and the lines are softer. He uses the direction of those lines and the thickness to describe the surface of his forehead and the shape of his hair and the awesomeness of his beard. Now this next piece is probably one of his most famous. In it, he uses lines and shapes to perfectly create the illusion of space and to also play with your idea of gravity or which way's up. You may have seen this piece referenced in pop culture before. In 1986, there was a movie called Labyrinth. I think the stairs in Harry Potter were inspired by it. And in 2014, they referenced Escher's piece in Night at the Museum 3. I thought the directors did a wonderful job of bringing that piece of artwork to life. In these last pieces by Escher, I want you to notice how he uses those lines and shapes to create the illusion that these are spheres, or that he's sitting in a room and they're reflecting that room behind him. One of the important tools that Escher uses is math. Math informs him where to put the curves on this building to give you the illusion that it's coming out at you. Now remember these pieces when we move on to our next artist named Victor Vasarely. He is considered to be one of the first op artists, and his piece called Zebra is considered one of the first pieces of op art. Now some of his work may hurt your eyes, and if it does, look away. You don't have to look at the screen, take a break and come back. In Vega, he uses shapes to fool us into believing that the surface is not flat, fooling us into believing that parts of this piece go down and other pieces come up at us. In Ryu Kyu, he mainly uses lines, but he arranges those lines in a way that it creates shapes that look like they're overlapping each other, when really it's just a flat paper. So far, we've just been looking at pieces that are black and white. With Vega Noir, Vasarely uses the cold colors or the cool colors around the edge of the circle to fool you into believing that it is further away, or the hot colors to give you that illusion that that part of the painting is coming out at you. Again, he uses math, just like Escher did, to reinforce those illusions. Here you can see how he's using shapes to create that illusion of warping or coming out at you. And here he uses lines and rectangles to fool you into believing that you're walking down a rectangular tunnel and it goes back and around the corner. The last piece by Vasarely I want to show you is something that's probably close to what we will be making for our op art. You can see how there really is no zebra here. It's just his use of lines to create that illusion that there is a zebra in the painting. And one of the beautiful perks about distance learning is that I can put in some links if you're interested in knowing more about op art or Escher or Vasarely. I hope you've enjoyed the video and that you've learned a little bit more about op art. Now it's your turn to create your own piece of op art.